And they're off. Smooth start for Simplexity. Kerry Gold came away in good order, as did Hurricane Cloud. But it's Calm Sea who will be the long shot leader, sent to the front and opening up. Mega Yacht is in the second flight, and the early trailer is heavily favored Yakolev. So it will be Calm Sea to set the pace, tracked by Simplexity, who's a length and a half off him in second. Hurricane Cloud is down at the rail in third, and then comes Mega Yacht, 4 off the leader in fourth. Yakolev is racing right on the inside of Kerry Gold. 6 lengths, covers them all. Calm Sea onto the backstretch, left alone on the front end. Antonio Fresu has a nice hold of Simplexity in second as they come toward the half-mile pole. Hurricane Cloud is clearly third. Mega Yacht gets a nudge to get closer on the outside of him. A gap of 3 still to Yakolev and Kerry Gold. Calm Sea takes him into the far turn, still with a 2.5 length lead. Simplexity in second. Then Mega Yacht, Hurricane Cloud. Yakolev in the blue is just behind that pair. Kerry Gold covers him up. Simplexity makes his move now on Calm Sea. Calm Sea still in front. Simplexity coming after him. Mega Yacht on the far outside. Yakolev will angle even further out, and Hurricane Cloud, they're in the final furlong, and Simplexity is right to Calm Sea. Calm Sea tough at the rail. Hurricane Cloud is running on well too, and now even Mega Yacht driving finish. Hurricane Cloud with the momentum. Hurricane Cloud, nicely handled by Tiago Pereira, beat them all. 3-way photo among Simplexity, Calm Sea, and Mega Yacht. We're in the gate, and they're off. Whiskey in a Teacup, 6 hot grands. Naftis had a clean break today, moves up to take second. Arteta fourth, 4 lengths off the leader. Uplift at the back of the field. It's Whiskey in a Teacup and Naftis head and head for the lead, and 6 hot grands keeping pace with both and coming through along the rail. 6 hot grands, Naftis ahead back second, and then a neck to Whiskey in a Teacup. 2 more Uplift and Arteta as they come to the 3/8 pole. 6 hot grands along the inside is just in front. Naftis once again puts his gray head in there, and Whiskey in a Teacup. The 3 of them have been going at it since the gate opened. Uplift just behind them, and tailing off is Arteta. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's Naftis on the outside. Whiskey in a Teacup, 6 hot grands along the inside, and Uplift angles widest of all. Whiskey in a Teacup goes on, 6 hot grands. Naftis weakening between. Uplift in the middle of the racetrack, moving into second, but it's Whiskey in a Teacup. Whiskey in a Teacup, a convincing W. Uplift second, tight photo for third between Naftis and 6 hot grands. Hollywood Mistress. In the gate. And they're off. Sweet Hello and Tiergarten, the first 2 out. Ole Silver asked for early speed in between them. Hollywood Mistress fourth through the opening furlong, and then it's Violet Storm. Tiergarten hugs the rail and will lead the field around the first turn, with Ole Silver in between rivals, and Sweet Hello is just outside of her. 3 lengths clear of Violet Storm and Hollywood Mistress. They swing onto the backstretch with Tiergarten. No breathers for her. Sweet Hello is right up alongside. Those 2 matching strides to the 5/8 pole. Ole Silver now about 2 lengths off them. It's a gap of 6 to Hollywood Mistress outside of Violet Storm. Heading to the half-mile pole, Sweet Hello and Tiergarten continue to race together as one. With Ole Silver 2.5 off them in third, Sweet Hello has a narrow lead. 5 lengths back, Violet Storm and Hollywood Mistress. Less than 3 furlongs to travel. And it is Sweet Hello with the head in front of Tiergarten. And Ole Silver's gotten a dream set up if good enough. 3/4 back, 3 wide third, 4 back to Hollywood Mistress trying to get into the race as well. 1/4 mile to go, and Ole Silver is up to take the lead, angling around, but in front at the 8th pole. Tiergarten fights on bravely. Hollywood Mistress, Sweet Hello, coming to the 16th pole, and it's Ole Silver with a 4-length lead. She is back and in business. Ole Silver, in fact, look at her turn it on. The final 16th to win by over 5 lengths. Hollywood Mistress, Sweet Hello, and Tiergarten. In the gate. Jimmy Blue Jeans moving around. And they're off. Flyover is going out for the lead. Kanani came away well. Jimmy Blue Jeans is not far behind in third, and so I'm told fourth. Brazenly in the green settles 5 lengths off the lead. Rodrigo Knows is next, followed by Chief Wild Eagle and Lil Richard's Bellow. Freysu and Flyover set the pace unopposed, tracked by the favorite Jimmy Blue Jeans, who's a length and a half off them. Another 2 back to Kanani by himself in third, and so I'm told is 6 lengths off the lead. Then Rodrigo Knows, brazenly in the green, racing in front of Chief Wild Eagle and Lil Richard's Bellow. It's Flyover pursued by Jimmy Blue Jeans. The 2 top choices go past the half-mile pole. Flyover maintains the lead a length and a half. Jimmy Blue Jeans second. 2 more, Kanani still third. He's followed by So I'm Told. Brazenly inches up outside Rodrigo Knows. At the back are Lil Richard's Bellow and Chief Wild Eagle. Flyover, Jimmy Blue Jeans trying to go after him now with 1/4 mile to go. It's Flyover and Jimmy Blue Jeans squaring off, 3/16 to run. Flyover just in front. Jimmy Blue Jeans trying his best, still a half length behind, but right to him now. And Jimmy Blue Jeans and Flyover putting on a show. Flyover or Jimmy Blue Jeans. Flyover has something left, digging in, trying to fend off Jimmy Blue Jeans. Here's the line, photo finish. It is too close to call. Very tight between Jimmy Blue Jeans and Flyover. In behind them, Rodrigo Knows, Brazenly, and Little Richard's Bellow were battling out the balance. Tight photo at the Great Race Place. 2 minutes. There's a pick 6 carryover, more than $48,869. They're in the gate, and they're off. Toppers at Seaside is hustled out and takes the lead. The Gypsy Cowboy up close. Here's Jumper Cables in Power Play. And just behind them, Honor the Cat. He's keen too. At the back of the field by himself is Mongolian Gold. Rounding the first turn, and it's Toppers at Seaside, leading the way by a length and a half. Power Play in second. Another length and a half to the pair of Gypsy Cowboy and Jumper Cables. 3 lengths clear of Honor the Cat and Mongolian Gold. They straighten away for the run down the backstretch. Toppers at Seaside, hounded by Power Play. Neither one doing each other a favor. 4 lengths back to Jumper Cables, joined at the rail by the Gypsy Cowboy, who takes third. 3 more, Honor the Cat. 8 or 9 to Mongolian Gold. Into the far turn, Toppers at Seaside has had a slender lead throughout over Power Play. That lead increases to almost a length now. 3 lengths more, the Gypsy Cowboy called on, responding, closing some ground now, about to take second. Jumper Cables has tailed off. And then it's Honor the Cat, 4 clear of Mongolian Gold. They pass the quarter pole and turn for home. Toppers at Seaside, the Gypsy Cowboy represents a fresh and serious threat at the 8th pole. Toppers at Seaside and the Gypsy Cowboy. The Gypsy Cowboy hits the front coming to the 16th pole. Toppers at Seaside is back to second and Power Play is third. The Gypsy Cowboy wins it by 2. Toppers at Seaside, Power Play, and Mongolian Gold. In the gate. And they're off. Practical Dazzle came away smoothly in the center of the course. Amanda Rose is up close too. Those two 1-2 by the stands the first time. Big Mama Sue is not far behind as Berry Valley is guided over to the rail now by Kyle Frey in 4th. They're followed by Vincero Grande 3 wide. She is Misbehaving is next. Ultimate High is the gray down at the rail, and the trailer is Be a Goldfish. Amanda Rose takes them into the first turn, leading the way by 2. Practical Dazzle tracking nicely in second, and then it's Berry Valley at the rail just in front of Big Mama Sue. Berry Valley a little keen down on the inside. That group is followed by Vincero Grande. She's in the 5th spot outside of Ultimate High. Inside of that pair comes She is Misbehaving, who was just passed by Be a Goldfish. They're heading to the half-mile pole, and it is Amanda Rose trying to hold on to this lead, has it by 3/4 of a length. Practical Dazzle is still in second. Then comes Big Mama Sue, Berry Valley, Vincero Grande between them in the purple colors. Ultimate High racing right next to Be a Goldfish, and She is Misbehaving. They're starting to sprint for home now, and Big Mama Sue and Practical Dazzle have now come to Amanda Rose at the top of the stretch. Vincero Grande, Ultimate High behind them. Berry Valley is down at the rail. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go, and Practical Dazzle, Big Mama Sue within a neck. Vincero Grande, and down on the inside, a nice move from Berry Valley late, passing the 16th pole, and She is Misbehaving has come from last. A lot of developments in here. Here's the line. Photo finish. Looked like Berry Valley, possibly. She's there with She's Misbehaving, and Vincero Grande joined the party late. Another exciting conclusion here. Behind them, Big Mama Sue was 4th. Photo in the 6th. Forward. And Dr. Venkman makes his return. And they're off. A slight bobble for Spirit of McKenna. Nothing too serious. Dr. Venkman comes out with the early lead. Smooth cruising. Spirit of McKenna. And Nisos is 4th, but only a length off the lead, as it's a very compact field that gets onto the main track. Spirit of McKenna puts his head in front, and Juan Hernandez lets Nisos roll along the inside, and Nisos is on even terms with them. Dr. Venkman is on the extreme outside. Smooth cruising now trails, but less than a length still separates them past the half-mile pole. Heavily favored Nisos leads the way. A half length in front of Spirit of McKenna now. Dr. Venkman, smooth cruising. They're coming to the 3/8 pole. Nisos tackled by Dr. Venkman, who returns to the races today against this brilliant Nisos, who comes to the quarter pole just in front. Nisos and Dr. Venkman have pulled clear from smooth cruising and Spirit of McKenna. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's Nisos with the advantage. Opens up 3 just like that, powering through the stretch. Back home at Santa Anita. and showing us the brilliance that he displayed years ago. Look at Nisos. Just gallop through the stretch in the triple bend. He wins by 5, never asked for anything. Dr. Venkman, smooth cruising, and Spirit of McKenna. Guy Jr. presenting to Baumacorp, Bob Baffert, and Juan Hernandez as Nisos Spectacular. And they're off. Slightly awkward start for Infinity Dream, who nonetheless does have a little bit of early speed and is coming after front runner Ellie Moore. In the meantime, Frog has come through quicker than both, and Frog takes the lead. Ellie Moore now second, followed by Cloudy Women, Infinity Dream fourth. Then Uptown Sweetheart, 6 off the pace in fifth, 3 clear of Strawberry Tizzy. Honky Tonk Rhythm is next. McKenna Rita, and a long way to Dixie's Delight. Kyle Frey and Frog take him into the far turn with a 2-length lead. Ellie Moore and Juan Hernandez tracking from second, followed by Cloudy Women third. Then comes Infinity Dream, inching a little bit closer in fourth, still 3.5 or so off the lead. 3 clear of Uptown Sweetheart. The others well back as they pass the quarter pole and come for home. Frog and Ellie Moore. Ellie Moore right up to Frog at the 8th pole. They're nose to nose. 2 lengths back, Cloudy Women and Hector Berrios. Cloudy Women puts her head down and is coming swiftly now in the center of the course. And Cloudy Women comes to Ellie Moore and goes right on by. Cloudy Women wins it going away. Ellie Moore second, Frog held third. Strawberry Tizzy was picking it up nicely to be in a photo for fourth with Infinity Dream. We're in the gate. And they're off. Very nice start for the favorite Grayson Sun, who takes command at once. Bronco Nagurski comes away in second. They're followed by Red on Sunday and Howbeit. These 4 closely grouped together. And Quality Cat is 3 off the pace in fifth. Love Candy second to last. And Clement's Ride is at the back of the field. They pass the half-mile pole, and it's Armando Aguilar and Grayson Sun carving out the fractions. Howbeit a length and a half back second, and down at the rail, Bronco Nagurski in the thick of it third. Now being pushed along just a touch as Grayson Sun tries to shake loose. Grayson Sun a length and a half. Howbeit in pursuit. 2 clear now of Bronco Nagurski third. Then Quality Cat, Red on Sunday drifting out. At the rail, Clement's Ride and Love Candy. They turn for home. He's going to drifting out. Grayson Sun just did. Howbeit's chasing him. And Bronco Nagurski at the rail. 3 of them line up inside the final 1/8 of a mile. Bronco Nagurski on the inside, and Howbeit. These 2 go on. It's Bronco Nagurski. And Tyler Bay's a very willing winner. Scores by 3.5. Howbeit second. Grayson Sun third. And fourth went to Quality Cat. We're in the gate, and they're off. Clean start. Motet, Invincible Molly is flashing plenty of early gas. Here comes I'll Have Another Kiss now going to vie for the lead along with Beyond Lucky. So those 2 go on with it. And Magali in the lime colors takes third, racing on the outside of a well-spotted Invincible Molly. Quick Brown Fox is 7 lengths off the speed. Followed by Yohani racing in between horses. Grecian Goddess in the purple. The 2 trailers are Shin Jadai, and Motet is at the back of the field. Continuing the battle, it's Beyond Lucky just in front of I'll Have Another Kiss, a half length. Invincible Molly is covered up, racing on the inside of Magali. That pair followed by Grecian Goddess on the outside, 4 lengths off the lead. Then Quick Brown Fox and Johanni, they're at the top of the stretch, and Beyond Lucky has put away I'll Have Another Kiss as a 2-length lead. Invincible Molly takes up the chase, and down on the inside, Quick Brown Fox is picking it up while in tight. Center of the course, Johanni and Magali is there. Johanni is coming fast at Beyond Lucky. Beyond Lucky, Johanni. Johanni got up. Another one for Kyle Frey and a perfect timed long shot W. Close photo for second between Beyond Lucky and Quick Brown Fox. Several battling it out for the rest to complete what will be a lucrative super high five.
Hi, everybody, and a happy Sunday to each and every one of you. Just delighted that you decided to join us on a Sunday 10-race card at the Great Race Place. Alongside me is a person who believes in traveling. And when you travel, both domestically and internationally, it opens up new horizons, teaches you about other cultures, how other people live their lives. And he recently went to Australia on a working vacation to go racing almost every single day over there down under. He's going to tell us about that experience as well as who he likes on today's card. He works for the Racing Forum. He's the West Coast reporter and the handicapper. You know him and you love him. His name's Steve Andersen. Steve, happy Sunday. Welcome to the seminar.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
Welcome home. You went to Australia not too long ago. You took a 787 Dreamliner, I believe, across the pond, as they like to say. What initiated this idea of yours to go racing in Australia?
Back in 2000, when the pandemic struck, you remember that for a while there were only 7 tracks operating in the United States.
Fawner Park was one of them.
Fawner and Gulfstream, Los Al, and Tampa, and Gulfstream, as I mentioned, Oakland was running. And,
that's right.
And there was Fairmeadows, Tulsa. And that should be 6 or 7. But anyway, there were 7. Anyway, we looked for some ideas about how to do some more articles at the Racing Forum, and we selected Australia because the time change, their big races are in our Friday night primetime window, and folks were at home. So we began to write those articles, and I was the primary writer. And it was fascinating to do because I learned so much so quickly. I knew a fair amount about Australian racing, but I really enjoyed learning about the day-to-day, not just the grade ones, the group ones rather, but all of the races. On a Tuesday, where did they go? What kind of horses were they? And what was their system like? So a few years later, when the world started to reopen, I said, I've got to go.
It's number one on my bucket list, by the way.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
They speak English, they drink beer, and they like horse racing.
Yes,
Those are 3 of my top priorities.
23 and 24 during the week in which Santa Anita did not race in April. The Grand National in England was run. This year, the Grand National was on Santa Anita Derby Day. So as soon as I noticed that Randwick Racecourse in Sydney, Australia had 4 grade ones, including a $3 million Breeders' Cup Classic equivalent, I said, I got to go. And
no regrets.
None whatsoever. It took 8 minutes to get the visa. So that was easy peasy. And the Australian Turf Club was very, very accommodating. And it was a fascinating journey to see racing in that country. Largely similar, some differences. One of the most profound differences was that all the runners on a given day are housed in a stable accessible by the public.
Wow.
And they have to be there. There's no exceptions. No nervous horses are allowed to be saddled in the back. No. It's all out there. You can watch them. So say, for example, this here is high noon. If you wanted to go see the horses that are in today's 5th race, I think they'd be already in the equivalent here at this facility or any others. So those pre-parade areas were open to the public. So it was nice on that big Saturday afternoon at Randwick to go down there about 2 hours before the first grade one and go, wow, this is this is some of the country's best runners all assembled.
We've got documentation to prove that you were there, Steve. There's actually a picture of you. I don't know if you were making a trophy presentation or what you were doing, but nevertheless, what track was this that we're about to see where you're proudly displayed?
This is Kembla Grange Racecourse.
Easy for you to say.
About 90 minutes south of Sydney. It was the 3rd of the 4 tracks I visited. I also went to Hawkesbury, and I went to Warwick Farms, which is in Sydney. But
this particular track, would that be like I don't know, Los Alamitos, Turf Paradise? How would you designate it in terms of North America quality of racing?
I would put it closer to, say, a Remington, a little higher in regards to the fact that, or maybe even like a Laurel, in regards to the fact that it is not a major city track. Prize money's pretty good. They have a few stakes every year. But it looks like the sort of place where you take a maiden or a one other than, and they have a different structure for those races. But maidens are maidens, but still, some of those races are run in slightly different structures. But you can tell that's the sort of track that you get in out. Maybe you find out where you stand, because if you go back through the records of quite a few of the nice Sydney-based horses early in their careers, they had to start at Kembla Grange. So it's not to be, it's to be respected.
You were there in mid-April, and we saw you had a sweater on. Basically, the seasons are reversed there, right? Our spring is their fall.
And then by the time I left on April 19th, there was a little bit of a cut in the air, a little bit. But when first days I was there, it was kind of like Santa Anita can be in October. You're a little bit of the warm, But it was nice to be there at that time of year. It was fun to see.
Did you reach out to track announcer Michael Rona for any recommendations, either racing or perhaps pub oriented?
Well, Rona's a Brisbane man more than a Sydney man, but nonetheless, he did know a little bit about Sydney. So we had talked. I went over to Los Al for the Los Al Oaks at the end of March, and we had to sit down and visited about the trip and talked about, I think I knew what I was doing, but he goes, no, expect this, and very helpful. So we had a good visit, and a few weeks ago, since I've been back, we've had a chance to get together and review it. So
and the Australian jockeys ride slightly different than the American counterparts, right? I remember some of them came over to Hollywood Park and tried to take a crack at North American racing, but they didn't really fit our style of racing. They just have a different style of riding.
Yeah, actually, I think it's getting to be a little more comparable. There's a lot of speed in those races there. So it reminded me a little bit more like Hong Kong than it did anything else, because there's a fair number of miles or less than a mile races. So there's usually an emphasis on positioning no matter what, and that's difficult. There's the past performances. This is a blessing.
Correct, compared to what they have.
Heaven's sakes, it was. I mean, I'm on vacation and I'm up until 11 o'clock the night before doing homework just to make an intelligent selection, because the what's presented to the public is only fair, to be polite.
We've got information to present to you. We're going to tell you who Steve Andersen from the Racing Form likes on today's 10-race card. But before we do any of that, let's find out who the scratches are. And there's one very important one in our stakes race from track announcer Frank Miramati. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf at 20 feet. Here are the changes. In the first race, started the early pick 5, no changes. Race 2 begins the early pick 4, no changes. In the third, just a blinker note. And race 4 today has a middle pick 4 on races 4 through 7. The fifth starts the $2 pick 6, scratch 3, Bazooka Charlie. Scratch 7, Rocks a Lot. 3 and 7 are out. Pick 6 starts with the fifth. Late pick 5, all turf pick 3 begin with race 6. Number 2, El Precioso, is 2 pounds over. 3 rookie numbers make the jockey William Anton Georgie. The 7th is the Desert Stormer. Big scratch out of here. Number 2, Sweet Azteca. Sweet Azteca out of the 7th. Started the late pick 4 with that scratch. Just win wagering only. No place or show. Race 8 starts the $3 late pick 3. No changes. The 9th scratch 4, Chasing Money. It's a $5 double wager offered on 9 and 10. And in the 10th, super high 5 wagering is offered with no program changes. Coast to Coast Pick 5 is offered on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. The last 2 days have shown once again how there can be some incredible payoffs on this wager, combining races from Santa Anita and Gulfstream. It starts today in an hour and a half with Gulfstream's 8th. There are 3 Santa Anita races in the sequence. Enjoy your afternoon here at Santa Anita Park. They'll be at the gate for the first in 57 minutes at 1 p.m. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. His special guest today, Steve Andersen, spelled E-N, of the Daily Racing Form.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Steve Andersen. He is the West Coast reporter and handicapper for the Daily Racing Form. How long have you been at the Racing Form, Steve? I know I asked you before, but was it 80s, 90s?
1994, April 1994.
Starting at Lone Star Park.
Started at San Houston, in fact. Worked there for 7 months until this job became available. So this this fall will be my 31st anniversary as a female correspondent.
So time flies.
It does, doesn't it?
It sure does. Well, let's see if we can find some winners on today's 10-race card. Kicking things off, Stephen, race number 1, where we offer the popular 50-cent early pick 5. This is for Calbred maiden special weights, burning 6 furlongs on the main track. There's all 3-year-olds in this field of 7. The morning line favorite is number 5, Beer Buzz, who is currently even money on the tote board. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Steve, I wanted to watch the replay for Beer Buzz's last performance. It was back on April 5th. There's 2 other runners in race number 1 that also participated in that same race. Number 2, Quigley Thunder, and number 6, Silver I Am, will also be in this replay we're about to watch. But make no mistake, the most impressive performance was from Beer Buzz. He'll be wearing saddlecloth number 7 when they break from this field of 12. And take note of who the winner is, because he came back to win very impressively next time out. But let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action for the 8th race back on April 5th and watch Beer Buzz wearing saddlecloth number 7.
And they're off. Clean start and a very fast one for Far Overloaded, who is immediately headed by several, including Western Freedom, who comes through. And there's the favorite, Beer Buzz. And Beer Buzz, with those blinkers, is in front as they run down the back stretch. Drop the Bit is racing in between horses down at the rail. Western Freedom now 3rd. Far Overloaded is 4th. They are followed by Gemini Buzz. Horizon Wildcat is widest of all. Silver I Am and Outworker follow that group. Then Keating Thunder on the inside of Fix It Quick, passing a few rivals around the far turn. A gap of 4 to Falcon Wings, and Non-Domicile is the trailer. Midway on the far turn, Beer Buzz the leader. Horizon Wildcat is a half length back in 2nd. It's 2 more to Western Freedom, angling out for the drive in 3rd. And Fix It Quick continues to make headway there at the top of the stretch. And Beer Buzz has a 3-length lead with a furlong left to go. Here's Outworker coming fast, and on the outside, Western Freedom. Western Freedom has blown by Beer Buzz at the 16th pole. Back-to-back wins for Legacy Ranch. Western Freedom opens up with authority. Beer Buzz 2nd. Outworker 3rd. Go ahead,
Steve, Beer Buzz was no match for Western Freedom, but in retrospect, that's okay. Western Freedom came back to win a non-winners of 1 state-bred race, earning a Beyer speed figure of 78. So finishing 2nd to that nice horse from Legacy Ranch is no disgrace. You also saw he got a lot of pace pressure early, 22 flat, 45-1, and he had plenty of company up front early. He is certainly the horse to beat, but you do like a first-time starter drawn on the far outside.
Yeah, number 7, Y'all Come, has had some good works for Dean Peterson, who does well with debut runners in his stable. So I expect Y'all Come to be forward. He may probably be wisest to sit behind Beer Buzz, or sit on the outside of Beer Buzz and let that horse do the dirty work in this race. I think the fractions will be quick again. Beer Buzz went 45.29 to the half mile, and I think that'll be at least that fast. But I think Y'all Come has a chance just from a stalking position to beat Beer Buzz, who's a deserving favorite. Let me emphasize that.
Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. We're on the turf course for race 2. We're sprinting 6 furlongs, fillies and mares, starter optional claiming types. The turf rails today are set at 20 feet. Race 2 has a field of 6. Number 3, Miss Mandalay from the Bob Hess Barn, is the 9-5 morning line favorite. Talk to us about race 2, Steve.
Well, Not a Sinner, who's drawn outside, should have plenty of pace to follow from the inside 2 runners. A couple of long shots in My Catherine Rose and Cypress Moon. If that's the case, then I think that Not a Sinner has a chance to close into a winning position. Kyle Frey keeps the mount. This mare has been as close as a head second back in March at this meeting. So I think that there's an affinity for the course. There's no doubt about that. Miss Mandalay is going to be in a similar trip, maybe a little bit closer to the front than Not a Sinner, which could be vital. That could give her a chance to get the first jump in this turf sprint. So Miss Mandalay, full marks to her. Juan Hernandez takes the mount. At this point, we can no longer call him leading rider. He's only 4th to Antonio Frisu, but that could change as the weeks continue. Nonetheless, Not a Sinner looks to be well placed to win for the first time since October in this 50 claimer.
6 and 3 in race 2. A question for you, Steve, before we take a look at race number 2. Excuse me, before we take a look at race number 3. My question for you in race number 2 relates to number 2, Cypress Moon, coming back in 7 days for trainer George Papapadromo. And the Daily Racing Form does such a great job providing information for these different trainer trends. It's a limited sample, but he's 1 for 3 over the last year or so, bringing runners back. It's kind of an old school move, I think, of Barry Abrams whenever I see runners coming back on short rest. Do you give Cypress Moon any bit of a look off this short rest?
I'm a little concerned that my Catherine Rose will be tough for her to keep pace with.
Sure.
But in that regard, Cypress Moon has run well from just off the pace in a few of her sprint races. So that's encouraging if my Catherine Rose is crazy quick from the gate. So yeah, the 7-day layoff thing is not a concern.
Not at all.
Speaking of Australia, going down there, it's common. I mean, almost every week you see a horse making a 7-day turnaround. And I'm talking graded stakes, group stakes horses, not just claiming class horses.
And we see it in the harness game as well on a regular basis.
It's part of the game there,
correct.
Of course. But again, the key is, judge your horse, find out what's best for the runner. And, this filly's probably going to need a little bit of a rest after this. But, we're getting to the end of the season. Del Mar's around the corner. So there you go.
George Papadromo certainly smarter than he looks. I'm only kidding, Georgie. Race number 3, 6 furlongs in the main track for maiden optional claiming types. It's basically a field of 3-year-olds with the exception of number 5, Friends with Fidel, who's the only 4-year-old in the field. There are 2 first-time geldings. Number 1, Chief Renegade, and number 5, Friends with Fidel, are both first-time geldings, but the morning line favorite from the Timmy Octane barn, number 4, Kid Dynasty, even money on the morning line. You like the favorite here, Steve? Or are you looking elsewhere?
I think I'm going to go with the favorite, Kid Dynasty, ridden by Frisu, who's having an outstanding spring here at Santa Anita. This 3-year-old has been well beaten in his last 2 starts, but this is a little bit a lesser class race, and I think that should help his chances. He can stalk the pace, or he can even be really as close as they want to be in this small field. So in that regard, I think Kid Dynasty can be well placed from post 4. Friends with Fidel, unraced since last June, almost a 51-week layoff, actually. Almost as a career reboot now here. A gelding, new jockey with DeSormo, who was riding well with Hess lately. That old partnership more than in its 4th decade.
Wow.
Shockingly.
Talk about time flying by.
Yeah. So that one I would give a chance to be coming along and show a reversal of the form that he struggled with as a 3-year-old.
On today's 10-race card, Sandy offers a 50-cent middle pick 4, which begins in race number 4. We're sprinting on the turf course. This time, 6.5 furlongs on the flat turf course. This is races for $30,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. The morning line favorite on the bottom, Invincible, at 9-5, is also a first-time gelding. You a believer at all in the first-time gelding angle, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I think it changes the horse.
Of course.
It changes the mentality. It changes the way they're trained. There are a lot of factors that are at play that we watch every day, hundreds of factors, really. And that's one that always catches my attention.
And let me just stop you there, Steve, for a moment, because you basically pound the pavement back on the backside. There are so many excuses for horses' poor performances that the public can't possibly see in the racing form. It could be anything. Loses a shoe, swallows its tongue, bleeds through Lasix. I mean, the laundry list is endless for excuses. Legitimate excuses.
Ulcers.
Sure.
Better diet. Changes that we can't even begin to fathom would play a small role leads to significant changes. So it's all about learning the runner, knowing the runner, and the people that you respect realize that they do the work, their team does the work, and they've got a close watch on all aspects of these runners, and the results show.
And the care on the backside they get is second to none.
You got to have a runner. There's very, very few easy races in this town.
Sure.
So in that regard, you've got to be ace with your treatments.
Tell us who's going to win the first leg of the 50-cent middle pick 4.
Well, I think Western Avenue, and it's just claimed by George Papadromo on May 16th from trainer Steve Knapp's barn, has a good chance. It won a restricted 25 claimer by 3 lengths from the front back on May 16th, and earlier in its career, it's run very well from just off the pace too. Should this pace be really quick today, with Known Idea capable of showing some speed. Invincible, as you mentioned, first-time gelding in his 14th start. Was a fair 5th in a turf sprint, 30 claimers, non-winners of 3 at this level, and has now gone from Tim McKenna to Pete Urton. And Urton's got a really nice record with first-time claims, so easy to like both of those horses. 5-6 if you're playing some pick 3s or doubles or different variations along those ways. Race
number 5 begins the $2 pick 6. This time we're sprinting the abbreviated sprint distance of 5.5 furlongs in the main track for Calbred maiden claimers, in for a $12,500 tag. 2 scratches. Scratch the 3 Bazooka Charlie, as well as the 7 Rocks a Lot, the morning line favorite. The 0 for 10 maiden, number 8, What's the Buzz? 2-1 on the morning line. I know some Sharpies that are actually going to single What the Buzz, despite that career record in all the multi-race exotic plays today. Are you in agreement with those Sharpies, or are you looking elsewhere, Steve?
I like their idea.
You do?
Yeah, but
I'm very skeptical, but well, that's nothing new for me.
The one thing that really changed this was the scratch of Bazooka Charlie was taking a major class drop. Does affect things, because that horse was going to presumably be coming from off the pace and play a role. One thing about What's the Buzz? He's got speed. He hasn't been able to sustain it. That's one thing that is a very strong concern for those who are looking to isolate this horse in his career. He did run a good second last time, but he made a blunder in the stretch and bothered a rival that led to a DQ and helped put Diego Herrera on the sidelines for 2 weeks. So the jockey was suspended for that ride. But he's back on What's the Buzz this time, second timer. I don't think it's going to take much to beat this field. It's not a very good group. Milbo Baggins, number 4. Major class drop from maiden special weight races for state breds into this now 12-5 claimer for state bred maidens. That's going to help his chances. Drayden Van Dyke, not very many chances to ride these days at 23 mounts at the meeting, but he has won a stakes race, and I think he'll have this one coming from off the base.
Steve, I'd be remiss before we take a look at race number 6 to kind of focus your attention 6 days from now on the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. Of course, we know the major players, Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza, Rodriguez as well, most of them Southern California based. Do you have an early opinion on the race yet? Have you kind of gathered your thoughts about who you think might win the race?
Eager to see the draw. Eager to see the kind of study the race from a pace scenario and see what looks like it'll happen, just to get a clearer indication. But at this point, if asked, Journalism by this much over Sovereignty.
So it's going to live up to expectations.
I think it will. I think these are the two of the top 3-year-olds going, in the last couple of years, really, because we haven't seen much consistency. Journalism's Preakness Stakes has been talked about far too much. It was understandably the subject of the time, but I do suspect that he'll be running a very sharp race. McCarthy is not going to put him in there to hit the board.
Correct.
So in that regard, if he shows up, I'm expecting an A1 performance.
Have you ever been to Saratoga? You're a world traveler. Have you been there?
God, embarrassing.
Boy, that is embarrassing. You need to get over it. But it's bad timing, right?
I have a good excuse. 3 words: Ruidoso, Del Mar. So I stand behind my absences from upstate.
Ruidoso is a hidden jewel. I've been there, and it absolutely is a fun town and a fun place to take in an afternoon of racing.
It really is. So no, I haven't been to Saratoga yet.
Exactly. That's the key word. Race number 6 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 as well as the $3 alt turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout wager. And we kick both wagers off in race 6, Bernines 5 furlongs on the turf course for maiden special weight 2-year-olds. We've got a field of 8. Number 3, rookie numbers make the jockey William Anton Georgi. Number 6, Brigante, one of 7 first-time starters in the field, is the 5-2 Maury line favorite. Now, none of these horses have worked out on the turf course, Steve, but courtesy of our friends at FirstTV.com, 2 of these runners from the Doug O'Neill barn actually worked in company. Specifically, it was Brigante and Lee's Baby Boy. Let's watch them break from the gate. As we watch this workout, you're going to notice that Brigante is down on the inside. And there's no mistaking as you're watching this workout, Brigante is in the blue vest and the blue cap, taking the lead quite easily from the workmate. There is no question in my mind that this horse has a tremendous amount of early speed. Right here, the exercise rider on Brigante allows Lee's Baby Boy to get back in the race, but it doesn't last very long because there's separation once again. You can even see the dam is listed as the worker who is actually Brigante. They hadn't named the horse actually yet, but you can see the dam is Cheeky Charm, and so this is the actual workout Brigante back on May 4th. But he's got a world of ability, a world of early speed. Doug O'Neill likes to win these 2-year-old races. I'm not saying he's going to win this race, but I think you have to respect his early speed based off this workout. He doesn't have a lot of precocity in his pedigree. The dam who I mentioned, Cheeky Charm, has had 5 first-time starters. None of them have hit the board. But just take a look at how effortlessly he's drawing away from his workmate. I like this horse today. I don't know how short of a price it's going to be, but of all the workouts I'm able to see, and keeping in mind that there's a few runners entered here who have been working exclusively at San Luis Rey, this was the best workout here locally at San Anita. What say you about race 6?
Well, that was 8 or 9 weeks ago as well.
Correct, exactly.
And the most important thing about Brigante is his works have subsequently gotten quicker. A few and 2 quick works from the gate, 47 and 4 on May 25th being the most recent of those. So in that regard, it seems to be a pattern that he is quick and should be out forward. But O'Neill has won with a 2-year-old already at this meeting, a very nice prospect. I'm eager to see what number 5, Hey Nay Nay, can do.
You're the second person to tell me that. I've only been on the track basically for a half hour. What do you like about Hey Nay
Well,
Nay?
I don't think he'll make the front like you mentioned with Brigante's apparent quickness. But I do think that Hey Nay Nay has a chance to be well placed. Of course, no mistakes allowed in a 5 furlong turf race. So he's going to have to be very poised in his first start. Sadler has done well with turf debut runners, first-time turf, 2-year-olds as well. I think he's an alternate to the favorite who just must be respected again.
You know, there's so many barns, Steve, that are impressive on the backside, and you mentioned John Sadler, but he and his assistant Juan Lavin, all the owners, I mean, it's a world-class operation. I'm just isolating on the Sadler barn right now, but they win races year in and year out, consistently, graded stake races. It's just a labor of love, and they're true professionals.
And there's a fair amount of patience that's required with those horses too. Take, for example, Flightline only ran 6 times.
Sure.
Needed loads of time between starts. So in that sense, there's a long-term plan. A lot of stables have that, of course, but with them, it seems like they know the investments there. This guy here, he was a $300,000 purchase of his own. So in that sense, I think they expect big things from Hey Nay Nay, not just on this afternoon, but going into the summertime.
Race number 7 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. It's also our feature race on today's card. It's the $100,000 guaranteed Desert Stormer for fillies and mares. A field of 3 after the scratch of the original morning line favorite number 2, Sweet Azteca. That probably means favoritism will fall to the number 4, Super Shine, coming off the layoff for trainer Phil D'Amato. Granted, there's only win wagering now, but there's also a lot of different ways you could approach this race if you wanted to attack it. Exacta wagering being one example.
And multi-race bets like the doubles or the pick 3s are available too. But just no place and no show.
Before we get your selection on the race, you had a chance to talk to trainer Richie Baltus about the reason behind the defection for Sweet Azteca. Can you share that with us?
Certainly can. We spoke about an hour ago, and he said that she has recently, in the last couple of days, sustained like a small cut that has a little bit of sensitivity to it. He didn't consider it to be anything largely concerning. It just happened to happen on Sunday, June 1st. The day of her comeback race. So in that regard, she will not be starting today. And he was a little disappointed of the timing,
of course,
more than anything. She is lightly raced, so hopefully she'll be getting some races going later on this summer, either at Los Al or Del Mar. But unfortunately today, which would have truly been a trial race for the Great Lady M at Los Al next month, she's not going to be able to run.
You talked about Los Alamitos and the Great Lady M race with Copian in there. I mean, that race is shaping to be up actually a prep for the Breeders' Cup.
Yes, very much so. And there is precedent.
Cruel Jack's filly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That did win the race almost 10 years ago, believe it or not, and went on to be a 7-1 Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint winner. Now I still want to thank Ian for winning that race all these years later. 7-1 came in handy. Very handy.
Paid for a trip, that's for sure. All right, Sweet Azteca's out of the Desert Stormer, Steve. It only leaves you with 3 choices. Who do you like best and why?
I think Fayette Fox on the inside has a good chance to be prominent from the start in a race that's just completely changed complexion.
Sure.
Honestly. Chismos is a closer. She's going to be retired at the end of this year. Owner and breeder Jaime Ranella told me earlier this year. She has won as recently as Del Mar in November. Didn't do much in her comeback race down the hill in the misdirection, but I don't think that's a reflection of her ability. I think she's better than that. She'll be coming from off the pace, as mentioned. Super Shine is winless in 4 starts in the United States, but interestingly, she did win a 7-furlong maiden race in Argentina in 2022, so she can sprint. And she's kept good company. She was well beaten by Sweet Azteca, Dairy Manor, Show Cart, and Coffee in Bed. All nice runners in the last 13 and a half months since she's come to the United States. I do think she has a chance to close into the expected pace setter Fayette Fox. So disappointing. There's going to be people out and around Santa Anita Land who are upset they didn't put an entry in because this race it didn't come up the way expected, and Sweet Azteca's absence has really changed it.
We're back sprinting on the turf course in race number 8. The distance is 6 furlongs. Race 8 also begins the $3 late pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout, and the conditions are Calbred 3-year-olds, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than, field of 7. Number 3, It's a Cinch, returning off the layoff for trainer Luis Mendez, who has 2 runners in this field. Excuse me, just 1 runner, my mistake, is the 2-1 morning line favorite, Edwin Maldonado in the saddle. What say you about race 8, Steve?
I think It's a Cinch goes to the front and gets caught.
Okay, so it's not a cinch.
No. Number 6, Last Call Zonlo, coming out of 2 1,000-yard races at Los Al, one of which he won in April, then came back and was a well-beaten second, but well clear of third in an allowance race there at that distance. Last year, he was a maiden winner at Los Alamitos in the afternoon program, and later ran a disappointing race in the graduation, which was followed by a layoff. Last Call Zonlo, I think, has a chance to run down It's a Cinch. I like the price at 8-1. It's my long shot pick of the afternoon.
I sure do like the price as well. And Terry Levenger, a big supporter of California breeding program, as well as the entry box here at San Ita, as well as other tracks in Southern California. Good luck to all those connections, including one of his partners, John Maroney. Race number 9 begins the $5 late daily double, also with a reduced 15% tagout. Once again, sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 4 4, Chasing Money, leaves us with a feel of 6. Number 2, Haywood, off an incredibly impressive performance last time out, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. The question for Haywood, Steve, is can he duplicate that effort again this afternoon?
Not so fast. Not with Halo Rando in there to probably give him some pressure, I think. I think those two are going to be very quick early on, and I'm going to think that that may not work out for those runners today. Jaguar John, another 8-1 shot is my selection. He came from 4th to win an 8-claimer on April 27th in his debut. He ran only 3rd in a restricted allowance race, a starter allowance race rather, on May 10th. I think this going back to this lower class level will be a big move. I always try to study what Steve Maiotti studies. You know, I think he's very
cagey.
He's very good with the condition book.
Yes, he is.
And I think his clients respect that. And I sometimes look at him very critically and say, what's
he up to?
What's he up to? What's best for this runner's chances to win? And I think in this case, the way the race is unfolded, but also the conditions straight up, even before you look at the opposition, makes me think Jaguar John might be a surprise horse today.
Jaguar John actually played for the LA Rams. Nick Alexander, once again, with a creative name. And let's talk about the condition book for a minute, Steve, because I think it's an underutilized asset for handicappers, because, you know, we just look at the racing form once the entries are drawn and the PPs are printed, but there's a whole lot more that goes behind the scene, because a lot of horses are entered now in races that they don't necessarily want to enter because the other races didn't fill.
And there's reasons for that. You know, maybe there's not enough of that other group on campus to get 6 runners or more. Sometimes timing's an issue. You know, I've had countless times over the 30 years I've been in the racing office visiting, and a trainer comes in and goes, I need a race at 6.5. Well, we have one in the book at 6. Well, that doesn't work for me.
Right.
So there's all these little nuances within the condition book that make it ideal, and sometimes make it difficult for people to find the optimum start for horses that aren't going through the highest level program made allowance stakes. You know, when you get a horse who's well into its career, pardon me, when you get well into its career, and you need to try to find spots. It sometimes it works out easily. Sometimes they have to be a little bit more creative, and sometimes you try things that just don't work. Sometimes things fall into place. I think there's some examples of that on this program too.
It's a big jigsaw puzzle, to say the least.
Way, yes.
Race number 10. We close out the day and we close out the week offering $1 super high five wager. And we're coming down the Hillside Turf Course. 6.5 furlongs on the turf down the Hillside Turf Course for Calbred fillies and mares. Allowance types, non-winners of 1 other than, no claiming option. Field of 9, morning line favorite number 4, Bits Tiger Magic. One of many runners on today's card coming off long layoffs. That's what makes today's card from a handicapping standpoint so intriguing and interesting. Bits Tiger Magic off that layoff is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Give us a winner to close it out, Steve.
I don't think they catch Bits Tiger Magic.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to be a problem for her going down the hill. You know, it's a cheater 6.5 anyway. It's really more like a 6. So in that sense, fitness will carry her a little bit down the stretch. Hernandez rode her last time in April of 2024. He retains the mount on a filly that has worked well at San Luis Rey, quick times. Not too many, like you mentioned earlier, sometimes those works are a little more difficult to judge than a workout here. I do like the fact she has 1 on turf. There's not a whole lot of other speed in this field, which I think is going to help her. I don't think she has to go 21:43 to sustain her run. Blue Wildcat, who drew the outside for Isidro Tamayo. That runner, now Thiago Pereira, picks it up from Umberto Rispoli, who I think can be a big factor from off the pace in the stretch. Should Bits Tiger Magic tire, Blue Wildcat looks very favorable to me right now.
5 and 9 to close out a very good 10-race card here at the Great Race Place. Steve, before I let you go, one more wager to consider. You pay attention to everything, including the $1 Coast to Coast Pick 5, which we're offering once again today as we take a look at and preview the races in today's Coast to Coast Pick 5 sequence. A reminder, Friday's Coast to Coast Pick 5 paid $60,000 to 1 ticket. Yesterday's Coast to Coast Pick 5 for $1 paid $30,000 to 3 tickets. Easily the most lucrative wager that's being paid out right now anywhere in the country, I should say. And today's Coast to Coast Pick 5 with that low 50% takeout kicks off with Gulfstream Park, race 8, 1:37 p.m. Pacific time, 70 minutes from now. So plenty of time to put your ticket together. And as you can see, 3 races of those 5 originate right here from the Great Race Place. Steve, great job as always. Thanks so much for your time and input. I'll look forward to seeing you in the paddock either here, Los Alamitos, or Del Mar. And we'll certainly grab an adult beverage or 2.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
So am I. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Have a great afternoon and good luck.
At this time, we direct your attention to the flagpole in the infield and ask that you please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. Track conditions brought to you by John Deere. As usual, we are fast and firm. On the turf, the rail is out 20 feet. Here are the changes. Race 1, early pick 5 wagering offered, no changes. Race 2, early pick 4 wagering, no changes. In the third, no scratches or jockey changes. The fourth starts the middle, pick 4. No changes. Race 5, $2 pick 6 wagering is offered. Scratch 3, Bazooka Charlie. Scratch 7, Rocks a Lot. 3 and 7 are out. In the sixth, number 2, El Precioso 2 over. 3 rookie numbers. The jockey William Anton Georgie. $3 all turf pick 3 and 50-cent late pick 5 wagering offered on the 6th. 7th is the Desert Stormer, scratch number 2, Sweet Azteca. With that scratch, there's no place wagering or show wagering, win only. No changes in the 8th, $3 late pick 3. In the 9th, scratch 4, Chasin' Money, $5 double wagering offered. 10th and final with super high 5 wagering, no changes. Enjoy your day at Santa Anita Park. 27 minutes to the opener. And we are about an hour away from the coast-to-coast pick 5. There's been some extraordinary payouts, including the last couple of days. 15% takeout, retail only. Starts with Gulfstream's 8th.